Look, Sanders functions as a charter member of the Democratic Party. He endorsed Clinton in '92 and '96. He endorsed Obama after we all realized what Obama was. Well, I worked for Nader in 2008. We knew what Obama was. He has been the primary obstacle to the creation of a third-party movement in Vermont on behalf of the Democratic Party because they know there's strong support. The Democrats are terrified that a third party will actually be built in Vermont. He campaigns in Vermont with the Democratic candidates. In fact, the Democratic Party since 1990 has never run a serious candidate against him. There was a woman candidate nominally put up for his seat, and when Sanders was campaigning with Obama, she wasn't even invited up on the platform. She was left in the audience. I actually don't think the Palestinian issue is a tangential issue. The whole power of AIPAC and the Israeli lobby gets to the dark heart of the American political system where money has replaced the vote, and the whole kind of neoliberal ideology which Netanyahu and the Israeli leadership embody. Israel now has some of the most extreme income disparities in the world. That wasn't true when I lived in Israel in the 80s when they were dismantling Histarut and their kind of socialist program. But the big issue for me on Sanders is that he picks and chooses what battles he can carry out to keep his committee chairmanships and not to be punished by the party. And Shama and I were in New York with him on the evening before the climate change march, and Shama asked him why he wouldn't run as an independent, which is what he should have done, and he said, I don't want to end up like Nader. And of course, they took down Ralph because Ralph took on the military-industrial establishment. And the fact is, there will be no serious reform of any kind until we break the back of the war machine. That's, we can talk about income inequality all we want. We can talk about, we can talk about all that. None of it will happen until we break the back of the war machine. And Sanders will not only doesn't confront the war machine, but is attempting to lure and praise military contractors who want to set up work in the state of Vermont. And my fear is, the game's fixed. I mean, the Democratic Party is fixed. After the last insurgent candidate in 1972, George McGovern, you had the Democratic Party establishment destroy McGovern and then rewrite the rules so that that would never happen again. So it's highly unlikely that Bernie Sanders will get the nomination, and he has promised to support the nominee. The Clinton machine, which is pretty tone deaf, is really going to have to mess up not to get it, and we're going to get a Van Jones kind of scenario. Remember Van Jones, Occupy, the ballot box, all this kind of stuff, and Bernie will go out and camp and funnel all of that energy and passion and rhetoric back into a dead political system. Not attacking the Democratic Party, especially after what the Democratic Party has done to working men and women in this country. Its support for war and preemptive war is illegal under post-Nuremberg laws. It's a criminal war of aggression. Support of torture, every appropriations bill, refusal to stand up to our security and surveillance state. The Democratic Party is completely complicit in what's happened, and it's part of the problem. And Sanders, he'll talk about the Koch brothers, but he won't say anything else. And for me, we've just got to be a lot more radical than that. We've got to build a new movement. We've got to step outside the system because it doesn't work. And we've got to realize that the most serious threat to our democracy is the Pentagon and Halliburton and General Dynamics and Raytheon, because they are not sitting around the boardrooms hoping that peace breaks out in the Middle East. And they are the scourge of our country, the scourge of our democracy. They have to be named as such, attacked, and taken down if we're going to make any progress, and Bernie Sanders won't do it. Thank you.